Hey guys, coming at you again today with the second half of our population growth notes. Um, Yesterday we looked at what is population growth? How does it take place? It was kind of a heavy vocab day. Today we're going to actually look at what does that growth look like and what models do we look at to see that? And what we use is called the demographic transition model. So we're going to go through that today and what that looks like and how to read it. And then you have a worksheet based on it, and then that's it for today. Okay, so it's pretty easy day today. All right, so there are 5 stages of population growth, okay? And if you look at this picture down here at the bottom, okay, this says it's the demographic transition model, and you can kind of see the 4 different stages there, and I'm going to tell you about the 5th near the end, okay? But stage 1, where that purple arrow is pointing to, okay, the first stage, it is kind of a low growth stage. Okay. So there's not much, and you can see it here. Okay. You should be able to see it here with the this line here. Okay. That comes all the way down. All right. This line here. That's the population growth. You can see this line is the death rate, and then this line is the birth rate. Okay, so if you look at it here, you can see this line isn't growing; it's not increasing. Sorry, it's not increasing very much here. Okay, the natural increase rate is 0 because there's such low growth. Okay, and that's kind of where we're at here. Okay, low growth. No current country remains in stage 1. Okay, there's no country that's in this level of growth. That this would have been like growth during ancient times, as it says with the agricultural revolution there and things like that. But there's no country currently in this low growth stage. Okay, stage 2. All right, if we move over into the next section there, okay, this is where we get our rapid growth. Okay, you can kind of see that this line here is starting to increase quite a bit. You can see the birth rates are still pretty high, but the death rates are low. Okay, right? The death rates are much lower than the birth rates, and so if we have more births than deaths, we're going to increase. Okay, that's exactly what that says right here. Okay, the birth rate is higher than the death rate. The natural increase rate is high. This would have been like during the Industrial Revolution. This is the shift from farming to manufacturing, causing unprecedented wealth. Okay, it allowed countries in Europe and North America to enter stage 2, and this is referred to as exponential growth. Okay, this right here is referred to as exponential growth. That's stage 2, high growth. There are a few countries in stage 2 right now, and at the end we'll look at which countries are in which one. Okay, stage 3. All right, if we move over, another one of our demographic transition model. That's our model that shows us population growth. Okay, again, pretty. The growth is again moderate to high. All right, moderate to high. Okay, you can see that it's growing quite a bit still, but it's growing at a constant pace. Okay, it's growing at a constant pace. If you look again, the birth rates, this top line, are still higher than the death rates, which are this bottom line. Okay, if you look here, still higher, meaning that population is still growing in stage 4. Okay, the birth rates are still higher than the death rates. The natural increase rate is more moderate than stage 2, but it's still growing pretty, it's still growing at a decently high rate. Okay, and this kind of growth is caused by family planning and economic opportunities for women. Okay, that is what this is caused by. So it's causing less growth because there's more in stage 3 countries. You're more developed. There's more education opportunities for women. Um, Again, there is still growth, but it's not quite as much as stage 2 was. And then we have stage 4, which is our slow or low growth. It's still growing, okay? Our birth rates down here in stage 4 are still higher than our death rate, so we're still growing, but at a really slow rate, okay? So this should probably say greater than or equal to, right? It's not a ton bigger, but there is still growth. Um, Eventually you'll get to zero population growth in stage 4, and that's kind of when you hit to stage 5, which is up over here. Okay. But this is caused by changes in social customs, so things like China's one child policy, um, to kind of slow the growth down. And then finally we have stage 5, which is negative growth. Okay, so we know it our orange line here is our total population. It's growing, 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 and then it kind of flattens out and we start to decrease, okay? Meaning that the death rate is higher than the birth rate. And we talked about this yesterday, how this is a problem for some countries. Um, it obviously creates lack of a future workforce and things like that, okay? The NIR, the increase rate is negative, so it's not increasing, it's actually decreasing. Um, and some demographers or people that study population disagree that any country is currently in stage 5. Some say there is a country in stage 5. Some say there is not. Um, if we look here again, a picture of the model, okay, and showing you the death rate, this black line versus the blue, or the birth rate, this gray line, okay, and we've got our total population, and we're looking at the growth here. Okay. If you look, it gives you some examples here too of countries that are in each stage. We have our less developed countries in stage 2, where the growth rate is extremely high. We have our less developed countries also in stage 3. This is kind of an in-betweener, which would explain why they're kind of in that slow or moderate, or that moderate growth. Okay, and then we've got our developed countries in the slow growth, followed by countries in Europe that are beginning to decline. Okay. This is a very helpful chart for you for your assignment as well as for your test coming down the line. All right. The next thing that we use to look at population is population pyramids. So the demographic transition model shows us the growth of a population. A population pyramid, it shows us a country's population based on its age and gender. So it shows us its gender makeup and its age structure. Okay. The age structure is the pattern of age distribution among a population. The dependency ratio is the number of people too old or too young to work compared to the number of the people that can work. Okay, so you take the total number of people under the age of 16 and the total number of people in retirement age, and then you take the people that are in between that in the workforce, and that's the dependency ratio. The number of people that are too old or too young to work on one side, and those that can work, and you compare those two together. Okay. The sex ratio is the number of male per 100 females. Okay, and that's kind of what you can figure out from a population pyramid, right? You can answer all of these questions, or you can find all of these things just looking at a population pyramid. That's how much it tells us. Okay, um, so population pyramids are generally used to analyze the growth or decline of fertility, mortality, and migration in babies. Okay, so again, this is a population pyramid. You can see the percentage of the population down at the bottom, and these are the different age groups, and obviously we have male and female. So you can see the number of people who can work So in our 15-ish to 70-ish or 65-ish range, and anyone older than that, that would be the population that generally can't work. We can look at our sex ratio, so the amount of males to females. Okay, we can also look at our age structure. Okay, this puts a lot of people in this 40 to 30 range. 30 to 45 actually. Okay, plenty here as well. Not as much up at the top. All right, that's how you should look at a population pyramid. That's what you can learn from it. Again, that's kind of what I just said here. We've got the kids down at the bottom, um, the economically active, and then we've got the older population near the top. There are three basic shapes that population pyramids take. Okay, they either look like a tree, they look like a box, or they look like a cup. Okay, and those are the three basic shapes, and each one tells us a very specific thing. Okay, so if you look at a tree, that means we are in a developing nation. The growth rates are slow. There is a high birth rate. There's short life expectancy. Okay, because if you look at it here, that should make sense, right? We've got a lot of growth at the bottom, a lot of growth. The majority of our population is young, and our life expectancy, there's a few that live late, but most people are in that 65, 60 to 70 range, okay, which is kind of a low life expectancy. And so if it looks like this, there's a less older population, more births happening, and less life expectancy. Okay, if you get the box looking population pyramid, it means low infant mortality rate, it means slow population growth, and long life expectancy, because there's just as many people at the top as there is near the bottom. Those are countries like Sweden and the United States. Okay, if you look here, is it a perfect box? No, but it does the job. Okay, we in these countries, there are the same or pretty similar in the younger group as there are in the economically active, and we see a lot more percentage of the population here. The bars are a lot longer as you get older, meaning that life expectancy is higher. Okay, and then lastly, we have the cup, which means low birth rates and a shrinking population with long life expectancy. So low birth rates, high death rates, because there's a higher number of older people, and those are countries like Italy and Japan. Okay, here's the cup. Um, kind of similar to the box, but there's a clear discrepancy here between the older population and the younger population. Okay, so you can clearly see that there's a lot more people here, which means there's more dying off than being born, which leads to our decreasing population growth. Okay, um, so that's it for today. What you have to do now is there's a worksheet for you that will kind of take all these different things that we have learned here and put them to the test a little bit so you can practice with them. Um, and then that's it for today. Okay, so hopefully you can understand the demographic transition model and population pyramids. They're used by experts from different countries and data analysts. Okay, to look at the different growths of populations and how that affects their country and things like that. So again, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, that finish the worksheet, and then that's it for today. All right, have a great weekend.